Director of Quality Control at Market America. Today we're going to be talking about Isotonix and explaining controlled delivery of nutrients to your body. And in this presentation, we'll be going over how nutrients are absorbed. We'll be talking about exactly how the stomach empties itself and how the Isotonix Delivery System works with gastric emptying to deliver efficiently nutrients to your body. And then sprinkled throughout the talk, there will be Isotonix advantages. And these Isotonix advantages are the selling points, the marketing points of Isotonix that you can share with your customers. This illustration has been used for a very long time at Market America. I'm sure you have all seen it. And it's still very useful for introducing new customers to the advantages of Isotonix delivery. However, many distributors and customers, especially those with a medical background, would like to see a more in-depth and a more scientific explanation than this illustration offers up. So today I'm going to be going over the science behind Isotonix delivery in a way that you will easily understand and remember and share with your customers. The absorption of vitamins and minerals relies upon shuttles to carry the nutrients from the intestinal tract into the bloodstream. The scientific terminology for this is carrier-mediated absorption. And all this means is that there are ions and proteins and other small molecules that act like taxis, carrying the nutrients into the blood. However, like in any real-life situation, there never seems to be enough taxis when you need one. When you look at this picture, the first thing you ask yourself is, why are all of these people standing in line? The answer is, well, whatever gate or door or transportation at the front of the line cannot handle the number of people wanting to use it. Unlike people, vitamins are not so patient, and they will not wait in line for a shuttle. If one is unavailable, they will simply move on down the digestive tract to eventually be eliminated in our waste. So, for maximum absorption, we need to have a nutrient delivery system that matches how the body absorbs nutrients. Keep in mind that every transportation system has limited capacity. Even the most efficient and rapid transportation system can be flooded and overwhelmed, and it's no different in your body. Only so much can be transported and carried at one time. The shuttles that carry nutrients into your blood from the digestive system have a limited rate at which they can work. Now, if you were to go to a textbook and look up facilitated diffusion, you'd see an illustration similar to this. In this diagram of facilitated or carrier-mediated transport through a cell wall, the cell membrane has channels or tunnels going through it. The proteins pick up the nutrients and transport them through the cell wall. And this brings us to Isotonix advantage number one. Isotonix products move out of the stomach at an optimal rate to maximize absorption. It's fast, but at the same time it's controlled, allowing the body's transport mechanism to very efficiently shuttle the vitamins into the bloodstream. Here's a diagram of the stomach, and one of the functions of the stomach is to temporarily hold food and liquids, and using muscular contractions along with the folds in the stomach, the food is broken up and mixed. Then ring-like muscles, called sphincter muscles, open up periodically to dump the resulting liquid into the small intestine for absorption to begin. Beginning in the 1950s, researchers at medical schools began to investigate what controls stomach emptying. All kinds of experiments were performed by having people drink solutions with different caloric content, protein content, different volumes, and different acidities. One such experiment is illustrated here, where a tube is inserted down the throat, bypassing the stomach and emptying into the uppermost part of the intestine, which is called the duodenum. It was discovered that there are duodenal sensors that control the rate at which the stomach empties itself, and these sensors detect many things such as how much food is in the stomach and the caloric content of the meal in the stomach. It was found that the stomach does not empty its contents all at once. Rather, it empties in small squirts or small volumes. The more sugar or carbohydrates present in the stomach contents, the slower the stomach empties. And the greater the volume of liquid in the stomach, the greater the initial rate of stomach emptying. Repeatedly, it has been demonstrated that the amount of sugar consumed, or the amount of sugar that's in the stomach, has a strong influence on the rate of gastric emptying. Here's an example of that. Keeping properly hydrated is very important to athletes. In this study that looked at the rate of gastric emptying of various athletic drinks and also plain water, the rate at which the sports drinks emptied from the stomach correlated very well to their sugar content. Gatorade, which had the highest sugar content of the drinks used in the study, emptied 35 to 45% more slowly than did plain water. And also, something I want to point out here, this just is a kind of example, is that this is an interesting study I want to bring up. It uses a novel dosage form called the accordion pill. And this accordion pill was looked at to see if it might be practical for sustained release of drugs. In their initial experiments, riboflavin was used. It was impregnated into this accordion pill, and the riboflavin was used because it's very safe and it's also easily monitored in the bloodstream. The pill actually was folded into a sheet, and it's made out of a water-soluble polymer, and in this case it was impregnated with riboflavin, as I've mentioned. The accordion pill slowly unfolded and it released the riboflavin. And this slow, controlled release of riboflavin increased its bioavailability by 200% over immediate release capsules. Therefore, making the point that the more gradual, the more slowly you can introduce a nutrient into the uppermost part of the intestine, the more it's going to be absorbed. So with these pieces of information, and by understanding the factors that control gastric emptying, Isotonix products are formulated to actually regulate gastric emptying. Isotonix products are carefully formulated using the right ratio of sugars in the right amounts. Because Isotonix empty from the stomach in a controlled fashion, the absorption sites and carriers are not saturated, and this promotes maximum absorption. Recently, there was a Japanese study done on rehydration drinks, and the ingredients used to make the drinks were very similar to the base ingredients used to make Isotonix. What the researchers found was that an isotonic drink emptied from the stomach at a constant rate relative to how much sugar and salt was in solution. And based upon their findings, we can calculate that one serving of Isotonix empties from the stomach in about 6 minutes. Now, while I'm on this topic, I'd like to take a moment to say that every Isotonix product is formulated slightly differently. If you read the labels carefully, you will note slight differences in the base ingredients, or what we call the other ingredients. And this is because the active ingredients take up different amounts of space in the formulation. Also, sometimes the actives contribute to the isotonic activity, such as in calcium plus. And this needs to be compensated for in the base ingredients so the product stays within the isotonic range when mixed with water. This is why no other company has been able to duplicate Isotonix Delivery. No one else has the scientific expertise, the know-how, or the willingness to create a superior delivery system like we do at Market America. Now, there are some disadvantages to pill delivery. Pills may not completely dissolve before moving into the intestinal tract. If the pill is formulated to be too hard, it won't dissolve, and therefore it will just drop into the intestine, kind of like a rock, and it will never release the nutrients that it contains. Another problem with pills is that they can get caught in the folds of the stomach, as you may have seen in that previous diagram of the stomach. And so if the pill gets caught up into the stomach, again, it won't release what it contains. And the other end of the spectrum is that pills sometimes will break up immediately in the stomach, they'll completely dissolve, but when you take it with water, as we've just learned, water in no way controls gastric emptying. So what happens is the contents of that pill gets dumped into the small intestine and the absorption sites become saturated. In other words, you don't get full absorption or delivery of what is in the pill. Now, you can very easily find images similar to this one I'm showing here, this X-ray, by going to Google Images. And what this is showing you is that pills do not always absorb or break apart properly. This is a very well-known dietary supplement that this person is taking, and this is yesterday's pill, this is the day before pill, this is the pill they took, 2 days ago. And the pills simply are not breaking apart, so it's wasting the customer's money. Now, let's move on to a little bit different topic here, and this is another advantage of Isotonix products is that they are buffered. On the left-hand side, and this is actually me, I made up these, a solution of Isotonix multivitamin, just as it's directed on the label, in the cap. And I made it up and I took the pH, and the pH was 4.48. And then I started to drop in there highly concentrated hydrochloric acid. Hydrochloric acid is the same acid that's found in your stomach. And I put a considerable amount of acid in the multivitamin solution. And what I found is that the pH hardly varied. It dropped from 4.4 down to 4.3, which is really quite remarkable, except for the fact that Isotonix products are buffered to resist degradation of the nutrients that they contain by the acids in your stomach. And that brings us to Isotonix advantage number 2. Isotonix products are buffered to protect the nutrients from the hydrochloric acid degradation that may occur in your stomach. When you mix up an Isotonix product, the first thing you'll notice is that there's little bubbles coming up. Those bubbles are carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide is used for one reason. It helps to mix the solution and also break up the powder so that it dissolves completely. But another advantage of carbon dioxide bubbles is that they momentarily reduce the thickness and the viscosity of the mucus that covers your intestinal tract. And this helps to promote absorption of those nutrients into your bloodstream. I've been saying the word or the term isotonic repeatedly through my talk, but Let me explain exactly what it means. I'm going to do this very quickly. The fluids in your body have an almost constant concentration of salts and sugars and minerals. And at this concentration, the nutrients and the molecules that are essential for a proper cell metabolism or cell life are most efficiently transported through the cell walls. So in order for a fluid from inside the intestine to be transferred into the blood, the fluid must be as similar as possible to the body's fluids. And if the concentration of the fluid that's in your intestine or in your stomach is the same as that of the body, we refer to that as being isotonic. Isotonic delivery is important because it does speed up the delivery of the nutrients into the bloodstream. Another thing that an isotonic solution does is it prevents the influx of water into the intestinal tract. You know, many people, when they take a multivitamin, or especially a B-complex vitamin, they feel kind of nauseous. And that's because water is flooding into the intestinal tract. So you won't get that discomfort and even diarrhea when you take a product that's isotonic, such as with the Isotonix Delivery System. So Isotonix advantage number 5, the base ingredients in the isotonics create a solution that is very similar to that of your body fluids, and this helps to improve the absorption of the actives. And this also makes the isotonic solutions quite gentle on your system because they are similar to your body's fluids. There are a lot of people who have difficulties swallowing pills, such as acid reflux sufferers, bariatric patients, hiatal hernia patients, people, even people as they age, the elderly folks, they have reduced acid production. They also have difficulty swallowing pills. And so using an Isotonix product can offer them an excellent resolution to their issues and a great alternative to the traditional pills that they may find on the store shelves. And just following up on that, it shows that according to surveys, up to 40% of American adults have experienced difficulty swallowing pills. And Isotonix offers an alternative to pills. So at this point, you may be asking yourself, well, why aren't all of Market America's products made into Isotonix form? Well, there's some very good reasons why not. Whenever possible, we do formulate in Isotonix delivery systems. However, there are situations where ingredients are not water soluble or dispersible. Example of that might be fish oils. So if you put a fish oil into water, it just floats on top, and so that's not going to be a very pleasant thing to drink, and it's not going to be efficient delivery. Some ingredients have an odor or a taste that's not easily masked. Things like valerian have a very strong odor to them, and so it's not pleasant to consume these in a liquid beverage or liquid delivery. Some ingredients are oily, or as I used in the fish oil example, so you can't put those into an Isotonix powder. And then there's also many ingredients that are plant-based, and these are raw plant-based ingredients, so like ground up leaves or roots, and you want these ingredients to go through the normal digestive process to release the actives. So in summary, we've shown that pills do not always fully deliver into your bloodstream the vitamins that they hold within them. The pill can be dumped whole into the intestinal tract, or if they do break up completely, that solution, because it's made up in water and it's not isotonic, it's going to be dumped into the small intestine and it's going to saturate the absorption sites. The vitamins which you take in Isotonix form don't have this shortcoming. The Isotonix products deliver nutrient-dense solutions which will move from the stomach into the intestine in a fast but controlled manner. And another benefit is that they're buffered to resist nutrient degradation, and they're also very gentle on your system. So thank you very much for joining me today on Meet On. This is Dr. Mark Lange, Director of Quality Control. I've enjoyed giving this presentation, and I hope you've enjoyed it too. Thank you. I see before I leave, I see I have a question from Carrie. Carrie says, what's the reason some people have diarrhea when they take Isotonix OPC3, the first cap, for the first time? I'm not totally sure, Carrie. This is the first I've heard of this. I think anytime you introduce a new dietary supplement or maybe a new delivery system to an individual, you might want to ask them to just take a little bit at a time, just sip it at first so that they get a feel of it, that they understand what they're taking. And also, there's always a brain component to this, a mental component to this, that they may not be mentally used to this or psychologically used to drinking vitamins for the first time, and so this is new to them. This is a new product to them. So the first time, maybe they should just sip it a little bit and then get used to it. But actually, it's the first time I've ever heard of someone having diarrhea the first time they've taken it. If someone else has questions, I'm happy to try to answer them. I see we have quite a few people logged in at the talk, so feel free to ask me any questions you want. I'll do my best to answer them. Okay, Tracy Isotonix says, I am sorry I came in late. What is the first Isotonix advantage? Okay, remember that this presentation is going to be saved and reposted on this website, so you can view it at any time that you want. You can also show it to your customers anytime you want. So I'm flipping through my notes here to see what the first Isotonix advantage is. Here it is. The first Isotonix advantage is that Isotonix products clear the stomach at an optimal rate to maximize absorption. It's fast, but it's controlled, and this allows your body's transport mechanisms to efficiently shuttle the vitamins into the bloodstream. So, any other questions you may have? Okay, I'm not seeing any more questions come in. Again, thank you for joining me today. And if you have questions you think of afterwards, you always can get in contact with me through product information, or they can answer the questions for you. Thank you again, and have a nice day. Bye.